So I'm going to be trying to explain how to do integration by parts, which is anti-deriving when you have different functions, I think. The equation is something like this, or they look like an example: 3x sine x dx. You can't really use chain rule for this or product rule because you're anti-deriving. So there's a formula for this. It's integral of f of x times g prime of x dx equals f of x g times g of x minus integral f of x g of x dx. That equation might seem long, but it's not that complicated. The first thing that you have to figure out is figure out which one of your functions is u and which one's dv, so that in this case u can be equal to f of x and dv is g of x, g prime of x, so you don't get confused. And you make a chart for this. U du v dv. Okay, and then now that you have your chart, you have to fill it in. So I guess we're going off of this one. For u, you use LIATE to figure out which one's u and which one's dv. The acronym stands for logs, inverse, trig functions, algebraic functions, algebraic trig functions, and exponents. So logs are like ln of x, inverse is like arcsine of x, algebraic is like 2x plus 6, and then trig function is cosine of x or sine of x or tangent of x. Then exponents like 16 to the x or e to the x even. Yeah. So in this case, your u is going to be 3x, and your dv, so then your dv is going to be sine of x. And now that you have your u and your dv, you need to figure out du and v. So du, just derive the 3x, and after you derive, it's just 3. And for v, you have to antiderive sine of x. The antiderivative of sine of x is just negative cosine x. And then you can try to fill in this log equation with it. So I'm gonna copy it over. 3x sine of x dx u du dv. Okay, so now you just have to fill in that long formula. U times v, so 3x times negative cosine x minus du times v, no, integral du times v, So 3 times negative cosine of x dx, and this part on the left you can just I guess multiply it times the negative, so it's negative 3x cosine x, and then this part you have to actually antiderive it. The antiderivative of 3, well, you bring out the 3 and then you antiderive what's left inside. So negative 3x, this is the same again, negative 3x cosine of x, negative 3. The antiderivative right here is sine, or negative sine. So negative sine of x plus c, and then you just multiply. So it's negative 3x times cosine x plus 3 sine x plus c. And that's just one example. Okay, so here's another example. Integral 5x times negative sine of 2x dx. The u is going to be 5x because it's an algebraic function, and that comes before trig and the LIATE. So u is 5 of x, and we might as well derive it right now. The derivative is going to be 5x. dv is going to be negative sine of 2x, and the antiderivative is going to be, so antiderivative of sine is, of negative sine is cosine, and whenever something is in a parentheses it never changes, so in this case the 2x is going to be the same right here. And this might seem right, but it's not. Cosine of 2x, when you derive it, you don't get negative sine of 2x. You get negative half sine of 2x. No, you get negative 2 sine of 2x. So you need a coefficient next to the cosine, so that when you derive the 2x and multiply it, it'll cancel out. So we're going to put 1/2, because you derive cosine, that's negative sine, you derive, and you leave 2x the same, and then you multiply half times the derivative of 2x, and that'll just cancel out, and it'll leave you with this. So now to move on to the actual equation, u times v, and well, 5x times 1/2 cosine 2x minus integral 5 1/2 cosine 2x dx. Inside of the integral goes du times v. Du in this case was 5, and v is half cosine of 2x. So you can get the 5x and the half together as coefficients, and cosine 2x, and now you just have to antiderive, or well, move out the 5/2 also. So then now you can just antiderive. Okay. So now that you have this, you can antiderive what's inside of the integral. So you bring this down again, cosine, and 5/2. The antiderivative of cosine is sine, and you need a coefficient so that the 2 can cancel out. Oh, you don't have dx anymore. Plus c. And together it's just going to be 5x/2 times cosine of 2x minus 5/4 sine 2x plus c. And that's it for this one. So here's the last example. Integral 2x squared plus 5x times cosine x dx. And well, right here the algebraic equation is 2x squared plus 5x, and cosine x is a trig function. So 2x squared plus 5x is the u, and cosine of x is the dv. To derive 2x squared plus 5x, you just derive regularly 4x plus 5, and to antiderive cosine of x, it's just sine of x. And then you can start with the long equation again. U times v minus integral du v. So u times v is 2x squared plus 5x times sine of x minus integral 4x plus 5 times sine of x dx. And so now you have the integral, and that's what you're going to focus on, because you're going to have to use the chart again, since you can derive this one more time. So u is equal to 4x plus 5 du is just 4, the derivative of 4x plus 5. V is sine of x, no, dv is sine of x. The antiderivative of sine of x is negative cosine of x. And you can do uv minus integral duv all over again. So you bring down the first part of this, 2x squared plus 5x sine of x, and then you add 4x plus 5 cosine of x, because that's u times v. Well, you subtracted it, but the negative from the cosine of x and the negative from the subtracting cancel out, and then subtract the integral du times v for cosine of x dx. So it might look a little confusing, but let me write it out. 2x squared plus 5x times sine of x plus 4x plus 5 times cosine of x minus 4 times negative cosine of x dx. And now you just have to antiderive this one more time and you'll be done. So 2x squared plus 5x stays the same, times sine of x plus 4x plus 5, that stays the same as well. And the 4, you bring it out, and then you just antiderive cosine of x. It's going to be sine of x, antiderivative of negative cosine, sine of x plus c. So that's it. And this one's more confusing than the other one because you have to use the chart twice. So if you need any help with integration by parts, just ask Ms. Ramos or visit khanacademy.org. He does a good job explaining this in great detail, and that's it. I hope you learned something from this, and yeah, that's the final answer. 2x squared plus 5x times sine of x plus 4x plus 5 times cosine of x minus 4 times sine of x plus c.